So thank you so much for joining me for this Lunar New Year yin practice. I think the practice of yin lends itself really well to this time of year because it's all about the energy of the moon, cool, dark, passive. So our yin poses are just really perfect for this time. And so as I mentioned on the event page, this is the lunar year of the ox, and the ox is associated with the earth element. So we'll be doing a lot of grounding poses today, really leaning into that earth energy. And 2021 is associated with the metal element. So we'll also be doing some poses that will open up the lungs and the breath. So that's in the traditional Chinese medicine meridian system that informs the practice of yin yoga. So we'll begin with a short grounding meditation practice. And then we'll move through a series of postures that we'll hold for about 3 to 5 minutes each. And then we'll close with a guided meditation, setting intentions for the lunar year. And so the total class will be about 75 minutes. So if you do need to leave at the end of the physical practice and skip the meditation, that's definitely something you can do. You may want to have some props around. If you don't, I have a couple of blocks and I'm sitting up on a folded blanket. So you don't need them. You can do it without, but just good to have them on hand, maybe a pillow or cushion, bolster, something like that, depending on what you prefer. So we'll go ahead and settle in. Like I said, I like to sit up on a folded blanket, gives a little tilt to the hips, facilitates more openness, but just finding a comfortable seat for the next few moments as we arrive in our practice. Once you've found your seat, allowing yourself to find stillness, maybe closing your eyes or softening your gaze. Inviting any areas of your body that need relaxation or ease to soften. In your mind, trace the spine from the tailbone all the way to the crown of your head, creating more length for the breath to flow up and down through your body. We've gathered together virtually for this first new moon of the lunar year. An opportunity for a fresh start, a new beginning. I invite you to celebrate this newness and freshness by connecting to the colors of the ox, blue, red, and purple, and choosing the color that most resonates with you this evening, bringing it into your mind. Imagine the color that you chose being drawn into your body as you inhale. Noticing the breath as it enters, filling the belly, feeling the belly rise. And on the exhale, sending the air out of the belly and out of the body. And as you breathe, connecting to that colored light, imagine it filling the belly. With each inhale, becoming more vibrant, more radiant. And with each exhale, grounding into the earth beneath you. feeling a sense of gratitude for this new lunar year, new phase of the moon. And on your next breath in, imagining that radiant light spreading throughout the body, through all the limbs, from the tips of your toes to the top of your head. And as you exhale, grounding, coming steady through the breath and through the body, greeting this new year. One more deep inhale. And one more full exhale, letting go of that visualization of the colored light. Returning back to the natural rhythm of your breath. When you're ready, allowing your eyes to flutter back open if they've closed. Letting sight return to you, noticing the space around you. We'll warm up today with a butterfly pose. So again, you may want to sit up, elevate the hips. Then we'll bring the soles of the feet together, creating a diamond shape with the leg. So we're in the bound angle pose in Hatha Yoga. The feet are closer into the body. We want the feet to be farther out. We're going to focus on stretching the spine and not the hips. So if you want to put some props, either folded blanket, cushion, or blocks under the knees, you can do that to take some of the stress off of that area. And on your next exhale, just walking the hands forward, finding the balance between effort and ease. Your edge, lightly resting the hands, either on the feet or on the floor in front of you. I think another difference from Hatha Yoga, in Yin, it's acceptable to round the spine if your back will allow it. So feel free to let your head just hang, letting gravity do all the work. And in Yin, we never want to push into a place of pain. Sensation is okay, but never pain. So we want to find that edge, sometimes called the Goldilocks position. So not too little, not too much, but just right. And you may find as you rest in each pose that you naturally deepen. Or you may feel that it gets a little bit too intense and you need to back out. Either one is perfectly fine. We use this practice of stillness and passivity to be curious about what our body is telling us and to listen to its cues and messages. As you breathe In this forward fold, we invite the breath deep into the belly, into the earth center of your body. Feeling the earth pulling you down towards it. And now when you're ready, we'll gently begin to come out of the pose. So walking the hands back up towards the body. So lean back into the hands, placing the feet on the floor in front of you, and windshield wiper the legs gently. And releasing that movement. And we'll now make our way onto our bellies for Sphinx and Seal. So moving aside your blanket if you're using one. And just however you can get there, making your way on to the belly. Now, option one is to place your hands, grabbing opposite elbows, and rest the forehead on the hands. Now, this might be plenty of back bend for you. If you feel like you can handle a little bit more, you can bring the forearms parallel with the elbows stacked under the shoulders. We'll get a little bit more compression in the spine. If you're here and it feels a little bit too intense, you can widen the legs to take some of the pressure off the low back. Or you can also slide the elbows more forward so that you're resting more on your rib cage. So just taking your time to set up. And once you've arrived, focusing on the breath. And the neck can be in a neutral position, so we don't ever want to be driving in yin. We're very passive. With each inhale and exhale, feeling the belly coming into contact with the earth beneath you. And at this time, if you'd like still a little more, you can press up into a seal position. So this time we'll press up into the hands, and the hands are wide, so maybe about the width of your mat. The fingers slightly turned out towards the corners of the mat. And just a little bit more of a back bend in the low back. And seeing if you can relax anything that you might be tensing or clenching here. And if you try seal and it's a little bit too much, feel free to come back down into Sphinx. We hold these postures for such a long time in Yin because we're targeting not just stretching the muscles, but working all the way down to the connective tissue or the fascia, which is less elastic than our muscles. So it takes more time to stretch and gain mobility. And from wherever you are, Sphinx or Seal, will release, coming down onto the belly, and either resting the head in the hands or extending your arms out to a T position and just hugging the earth. Just resting here for a few breaths, enjoying no exertion, nothing to do, no place to be, but right here and right now. And we'll slowly and mindfully now begin to move up onto all fours in a tabletop position. Well, I like to have my folded blanket underneath for a little bit more support for my knees. So feel free to do that. And we're going to come into a melting heart pose. So from our tabletop position, the knees are about hip distance apart. And we'll just begin to walk the hands forward towards the front of your mat, and then melt the chest towards the mat, keeping the hips stacked over the knees. And this is another time where you might want to use a prop to bring the floor a little bit closer to your head. So maybe grabbing a bolster or a cushion. And once you've arrived, seeing what you can relax. In our Sphinx and Seal pose, we had a back bend in the lower back. This is opening more in the upper back and shoulder area. So leaning into that. And melting heart is a little bit intense, so we don't hold there for too long. So when you're ready, walking back up, meeting in tabletop again. And here we'll take just a few rounds of cat and cow to loosen up the spine after those stretches. So as you inhale, gently arching the spine, opening the chest and lifting the gaze. And then exhale, drawing the spine towards the ceiling and bringing the chin towards the chest. And then we'll move through this about 3 more times, moving with the rhythm of your own breath. And after your third cat and cow, returning back to a neutral spine in tabletop. So we'll move now into swan and sleeping swan. And you can come into this either from right here in tabletop, or if you'd like to tuck your toes and press up into a downward facing dog, that's also an option. From either tabletop or down dog, we'll extend the right leg, lifting it off the floor. And then begin to draw the right knee towards the right wrist. And untucking the toes of the back leg. Stretching out the quads and hip flexor of the left leg. And so from here, we'll start with the right foot sort of in towards the groin area. But if you're feeling very open in the hips, you can experiment with working the foot up towards the left hand, bringing the shin towards parallel with the front of your mat. If you're feeling less open in the hips today, drawing the foot back towards the body. You can also slide a prop under your hip if there's space between your hip and the floor. And once you've found your position, we'll gently begin to fold over the front leg. Again, resting your head either on your hands on the floor, maybe on a block. And finding release. Now, if this really doesn't feel good at all to you, there's also a reclined version, which I'll show you. If you're feeling okay in sleeping swan, please do stay there. In the reclined version, we'll come onto our backs, feet flat on the floor, knees bent, crossing the right ankle just under the left knee. So finding openness in the hips this way. And you can stay here, or maybe lift the left foot, threading the needle and clasping the hands behind the left leg. So there's always options for wherever your body is today. And wherever you are, just feeling the effects of gravity, letting it pull you towards the floor, towards the mat. So we'll prepare to come out of our sleeping swan. So first we'll walk the hands back up towards the body. And then you can tuck the left toes and press up into down dog, or just come meet back in tabletop. And here in tabletop, we'll come into a tadpole with a twist, or wide leg child's pose with a twist. So bringing the toes towards each other and the knees coming wide. We'll shift the weight into the right hand, lifting the left arm, and then threading the needle underneath the right arm as we sit back on the heels. If the twist doesn't feel good, feel free to just do a regular child's pose. And this is another opportunity to use a prop under the head. That helps bring the floor a little bit closer for you. And breathing into the belly here, that earth center. When you're ready, untwisting, and we'll meet back in all fours. And we'll come into swan and sleeping swan on the other side. So I'll demonstrate it from tabletop this time. So this time we'll send the left leg back and then gently draw the left knee towards the right wrist, sliding that back leg back. And then finding your appropriate position for your foot and shin. You may notice one side is more open than the other. That's usually the case. But just something to notice and observe. And once you're all set, then walking the hands forward, folding over that front leg. Feeling openness in the hip. As well as a stretch of the hip flexor and quads on the right side. And of course, the reclined version is there for you as well if that feels better for you today. And just noticing as you rest here, if you're holding any tension, maybe you're tensing some of the muscles in your leg, or your arms, or your face. And seeing if you can find release. And we'll slowly begin to walk the hands back up towards the body. And we'll meet back in tabletop. So tucking the toes, either pressing back into downward facing dog or tabletop. And we'll come into that twisting child's pose or regular child's pose on the other side. So this time, the weight is going to come to the left hand. We'll extend the right arm, and then thread the needle under the left arm, sitting back onto the heels. Finding any props that help facilitate this pose for you. Connecting with the breath in your belly. And when you're ready, untwisting. You can come back through tabletop, but we're just going to return to a seated position. I'm going to reset, refold my blanket. So finding your seat, we're going to come into dragonfly or straddle pose. So sitting up on a blanket or cushion can help facilitate that pelvic tilt once again. Helps gravity do the work. So we'll send the legs out into a V, so wide enough that you feel a slight stretch along the inner thighs, but again, not pain or strain. I'm going to grab a block here. And then tilting from the pelvis, we'll walk the hands forward until we feel that first hint of sensation. And once we're there, again, if your back is okay with it, it's fine to allow the spine to round here, letting the neck hang, maybe putting a block underneath the head. Breathing into any areas of tension or sensation. Noticing what's tight, seeing if you can relax. Feeling supported by the ground, by the earth. And this is a great pose for us to practice acceptance and resilience, acceptance of where we are in this pose. Maybe our legs aren't as wide as we think they should be, but they're where they need to be. Also acceptance of where we are in our life and our thoughts and emotions. And so consciously releasing any tension that you're holding. Legs, hips, shoulders, back. Being okay with where you are right here and right now. And taking one more deep breath here. And then slowly beginning to walk the hands back towards the body, returning to a vertical position. We're going to stay here in our dragonfly or straddle. We'll shift the torso over the right leg. I'm mirroring you. And we'll begin to walk the hands forward, folding over the right leg this time. And if this feels a little bit too intense, you can always bring in the left leg, bending it in towards the body. And if you'd like to use some props, I'll show you how to use a bolster and a block. It's helping support the parts of our body that aren't working right now. So finding the option that works for you. And once you're there, finding stillness and release. Feeling gravity drawing you towards that leg. And again, you might notice that as you breathe here, you naturally find yourself deepening in the posture. Or you might feel things getting a little bit too intense, in which case it's always fine to back out a little bit. So constantly checking in and scanning your body, noticing what's present. And then slowly walking back up, finding a vertical position, and we'll switch sides. So if you drew the knee in, changing sides, turning the torso towards the left leg, and then beginning to lean forward over the leg, letting the head hang if it's comfortable. And once again, maybe thinking about practicing acceptance of where we are in this pose. connecting with the breath and the earth beneath us. And we'll slowly come out of the pose on this side, walking the hands back up, returning to vertical position. We'll take some more of those windshield wipers. So feet flat on the floor, leaning back into the hands and just rocking the legs side to side, feeling the effects of that powerful opener of the inner thighs. And when you're ready, we'll come down onto our backs. And here I like to have either my folded blanket or pillow or cushion under the head just to give the neck a little bit of support. Just finding our way gently down onto the mat. We'll extend the arms up by the ears. And finding your right hand, grab the left wrist and draw it over to the right side of the mat. So we're drawing the left arm towards the right top corner of the mat. And then we'll walk the feet to the bottom right corner of the mat, making a crescent shape with the body, or a banana, which I think I forgot to say this pose is called banana. And you can experiment here with crossing one foot over the other, crossing the left foot over the right is a little bit more of a stretch in the outer leg and hips. Or crossing the right foot over the left is a little bit more stable. So just seeing what you need today. Or you don't have to cross the feet at all. Just enjoying this openness in the left side of your body. This is one of my favorite poses because it just opens everything. Breathing here, maybe thinking about focusing the breath into the left side of your body, into those areas that are stretching and opening. And releasing any areas of tension. And we'll come back to the I just noticed that I was gripping my left wrist quite tightly with my right hand. We don't need to do that. And just relax. So we'll begin to release from this pose. So walking the feet back to center, recentering the arms, and switching sides. So this time grabbing the right wrist with the left hand, and drawing the right arm over to the left side of the mat, and then walking the feet to the bottom left corner of the mat. So making our banana on the other side. And then maybe seeing what it feels like to cross one foot over the other. Once you've found the position that works best for you, finding stillness. Breathing into the openness in the right side of your body. And again, noticing if anything is tense, if there's any sensations, and seeing if you can relax. And as much as I want to stay in banana all day, it's time to release. So uncrossing the feet if they're crossed, walking the feet back to center, releasing the arms back to center. We'll spread the arms out to a T position, with palms down on the floor. And we'll bend the knees, putting the feet flat on the floor, finding a constructive rest pose. And we'll close our physical practice with some supine twists. So on your next inhale, gently lifting the hips and sending them towards the left side of your mat and letting the knees fall to the right. Relaxing in the shoulders. Shoulders are working their way towards the floor. Then your gaze can be wherever is comfortable. So towards the ceiling or over the left or right shoulder, just whatever feels best. And maybe sliding a block or a bolster underneath that right knee if you need a little more support. And breathing here. I always like to compare a recline twist to a little massage for all of our internal organs. Also helps to facilitate the digestive process. Really connecting with that sense of gravity once again, feeling gravity pulling your body towards the floor, pulling your knees towards the floor, your shoulders. And we'll prepare to come out of the twist on this side. So maybe giving your knees a little help to bring them back to center, recentering the hips on the mat, bringing the arms back out to a T. And then on our next inhale, we'll lift the hips and send them to the right and drop the knees over to the left this time. And so settling in again here, incorporating any props, letting the shoulders draw towards the earth. And gazing wherever is comfortable. I always like to close a practice with twisting, almost like wringing out your spine, like wringing out a towel. Giving love to those internal organs, the torso and the spine. We'll gently begin to untwist. So helping the knees back up to center, recentering the hips, maybe hugging the knees into the chest, maybe rocking side to side, or if you prefer, making circular motions with the knees. And back in the other direction. Then we'll begin to make our way into our Shavasana. So if your low back is giving you issues, you can always stay in the constructive rest pose with the feet on the floor so that your lower spine is drawn towards the mat. You can extend the legs, maybe sliding a bolster or pillow behind the knees, maybe covering up with a blanket. Doing whatever you need to do to make yourself as comfortable as possible for the next about 15 minutes. And this is also the time where if you need to jump off of the Zoom call, you can feel free to do that. We'll have about 15 minutes of guided meditation to close our practice. And so once you've found that comfortable position, relaxing once again into stillness and calm, letting the eyes soften or close. Connecting with the sense of gravity, feeling the weight pulling your body gently down as if you're being embraced by the earth beneath you. Feeling each point of contact between your body and the floor. Begin to notice the flow of air in and out through your nose, observing the breath with a sense of curiosity, letting it be just as it is. During the practice of meditation, it's very natural for our minds to wander, all part of the practice. So if you notice yourself becoming distracted by thoughts, just gently observe that that's what's happening. And bring your focus back. The rhythm of your breath in and out through the nose. Breath is what links the mind and body in the present moment. So without forcing anything, begin to deepen the breath. If it's comfortable, maybe breathing in for a count of 4, holding for a count of 2, and then exhaling for a count of 6. Practice of lengthening the exhale calms the mind and body. Following the rise and fall of the breath in and out. Starting to notice the body sinking, becoming more relaxed, grounded, gently letting go. If you haven't already, you can let go of the counting, returning to the natural rhythm of your breath. And now gently begin to focus your attention on the space around your heart center. Feeling the rise and fall of the breath in your chest and the beating of your heart. Working in concert to carry life force throughout your body. Really beginning to connect with that heart space. Moving into a sense of being rather than thinking or doing. As you breathe into your heart space, bring to mind feelings of connection, love, compassion that you have for yourself and others. Allowing these feelings to awaken in your heart. Breathing in connection, love, and compassion, and allowing those feelings to soften and soothe your body. And now starting to bring to your mind the new moon, the first of this lunar year, the darkness before the light starts to shine. It's a time when we can look within and be really clear about what we're inviting in, what direction we want our lives to take, what changes we want to make. As you connect with the essence of the moon, energy, stillness, and quiet, bring to mind the intentions you have for this next phase, this new lunar year. What is it that you're calling in? And as you begin to visualize the intentions that you have, begin to sense into, to feel into how it would feel if you've already reached this place. Allow your body to feel what it is to already be exactly where you want to be. What would it look like? What does it feel like? Breathing into the heart as you visualize already having reached these goals and met your intentions. Knowing that you've firmly set in your mind what you're working toward. what you're bringing into your life, into this new year, year of the ox. And staying in the heart space for a moment, acknowledging all that you're grateful for, and feeling how the body feels as you connect with that sense of gratitude. Maybe bringing to your mind one or two things or people that you have a deep sense of gratitude for. Really allowing your body to connect with those feelings. And allowing these feelings of gratitude to emanate from your heart throughout your entire body, bathing yourself in gratitude. It's an ancient tradition in the East, especially in Vietnam and China, to use poetic couplets, 2 lines of verse, as part of the mindfulness practice to bring good luck, good fortune for the year to come. The Buddhist Zen master Thich Nhat Hanh has established a tradition of offering his community a simple poetic couplet each Lunar New Year to inspire and nurture our mindfulness practice throughout the year. I invite you to share in this year's couplet as we continue to breathe in stillness. While reciting these phrases in our minds, we can combine each line with our breathing. As you breathe in, your mind repeat the phrase, sitting in freedom on this sacred land. And as you breathe out, walking in peace everywhere on earth. Sitting in freedom on this sacred land. Walking in peace everywhere on earth. These words are not a declaration, but an aspiration that we can nurture and carry with us throughout this year of the ox. Sitting in freedom on this sacred land, walking in peace everywhere on earth. We're gently beginning to bring your attention back into the space around you, inviting some small movements of the fingers and toes. Maybe taking a big stretch before rolling onto your favorite side and taking all the time you need to work your way back up to a seated position. And once you've arrived in your comfortable seat, bringing your palms together, resting in front of your heart. And once again, bringing to mind the color that you chose at the beginning of our practice. Imagining again as though the color is being breathed into your belly, becoming more vibrant and radiant with each inhale. Sealing in the intentions you've set for the new year. And we exhale fully in gratitude until every last drop of air has left the body. And on your next breath in, maybe picturing that radiant light expanding out from your body, filling the space around you, inviting that sense of newness, freshness, and intention into your home, into your space. And as you exhale, grounding in appreciation and gratitude for a new day, a new year. Inhaling again. Maybe now seeing that radiant light spreading throughout your family, your friends, maybe to all beings, carrying love, health, and good fortune to every living thing. And exhale, grounding in that connection, celebrating the newness and promise of this lunar year. And one more big, deep breath, celebrating all beings on earth, embracing this new year, new journey, new intention in the year of the ox. And as we exhale, bowing forward in deep gratitude. Namaste. Thank you so much for sharing this virtual space with me on this Lunar New Year. I hope you enjoyed this practice. If you're interested in Thich Nhat Hanh's poetic couplets, I will post a link on the Facebook event page so that you can read more and maybe even print them out to post in your own home. I wish you good health and good fortune in this lunar year of the ox. Thank you.